What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about how you can construct a portfolio with two of the best performing Yieldmax funds out there, NVIDIA based and Mr. based, NVDY and MSTY. So let's look at their schedule and let's look at some numbers here. So this is on Yieldmax's website. The two funds we're going to be talking about today is NVDY and MSTY. So let's go ahead and look at the performance of the total return. This is a really cool website, total real returns. And yes, by investing into the underlying ETF, you can see in all instances here are going to outperform Yieldmax's version. But just keep in mind, these funds are not for growth. They're income funds. So just so you're aware of that before we dive any deeper here, zooming in a little bit further, NVDY 117, NVIDIA 185, MSTY 177, MSTR 296, compared to the S&P 500, which is doing, as of a couple of days ago, 18.88%. I think this is actually probably pretty closer to 25% now, but this data is a couple of days old here. Going to the next tab, we're going to estimate some of the income from these funds, maybe take 75%. But, as we can see, every single month, it kind of depreciates a little bit there. Yieldmax is distributing all of the premium that they generate. So the shares are diluting a little bit. So you just have to kind of understand that over time, share dilution is happening. And that's inevitably what happens anytime a dividend is paid, whether it's Yieldmax or not Yieldmax. That's kind of what happens there. So just keep in mind with that. Next page. Okay, so this is the spreadsheet I just started creating here. So we're going to see how much of an investment it's going to take to generate, a sizable portfolio income. So let me pause that here. So let me pull this back up. Okay, so what we talked about before is you're going to get paid every other week. The way that Yieldmax has this split up. And the cool thing about it is that, every other week you're going to get paid. So this is kind of like a job per se, to just kind of understand that with that. So let's say you have $100,000 that you're going to split 50-50 between these two funds. So this is what NVIDIA paid, I think actually just as of today, they paid that amount. But let's just, for our illustration purposes, let's just go ahead and assume an 80%. If they can pay 80%, or this is going to at least cover us for a little bit here. So we'll make this a little bit bigger. Misty hasn't paid since their most recent payment of, I know it was a large one, so 419. So I know that's not going to be realistic because that was almost 2 months here. So we could probably, definitely split that up in two, and that's kind of what I did here. I did 419 divided by 2. But let's just go ahead and, also do 80%. If it can pay 80% of that, we'll be happy with that. So, $100,000, that's going to be our illustrative investment amount here. And it's going to be split up between, all funds. So how many shares is that going to buy us for NVIDIA? So this is NVIDIA's current share price. So we want to take the dollar amount of 100,000 divided by 25.94. It's going to give us roughly, let's see if we can round this data. Currency rounded. No, I want number rounded. Yeah. Okay. Either way, 3,855 shares of NVIDIA. And then same kind of logic here with this guy. We can make this a little bit bigger. Resize the columns so they can fit all of their data in here. Okay, there we go. Back here. So we're going to get roughly, 3,800 shares, 3,855 shares of NVIDIA, and 3,217 shares of Misty. So, and then if we populate that out, let's just do it down here. Will equal 3,855 shares divided by 81 cents a share. We'll do currency rounded for this one. So this is kind of an illustration, right? If they're able to continually pay this amount of money, you could expect to receive a bi-weekly payment from NVIDIA of $3,146 and a bi-weekly payment from Misty of $5,393. Adding those both together will give us a monthly income of $8,538. Just go ahead and populate that down here. Sure, we'll throw it right here. Equals the sum. This plus this. That's going to be our monthly income, right? 8,538 there. So pretty massive. If you populate that out times 12, you're making six figures. You're making, that's a massive yield, right? You're making over 100% yield on your investment. So, with that, you're definitely going to get some NAV erosion. But needless to say, though, this is how you can construct a portfolio of two funds that have been performing very well for Yieldmax. Needless to say, though, who knows if these funds are going to be able to continually perform like they have been. They've been going absolutely crazy. The underline's been going crazy. NVIDIA is up 185% year to date. MSTR is up 296% year to date. Can they continue that? Probably not. So, these are not going to be able to perform as well. Obviously, if the underline is not performing as well. But, needless to say, they've been awesome. And all the shareholders out there that purchased these funds back in January have some options, right? You definitely could be sitting on huge profits right now. You could get out of your position. You could exit your position with very nice gains. So yeah, guys, these are just educational illustrations. Obviously do your own research, understand how these covered call funds perform. And it may or may not make sense for you. You may be in your wealth accumulation phase, right? You want to just buy the underlying, or you just want to buy the S&P 500, you just want to buy the NASDAQ, and that's completely fine. And but if you need income today, you want to retire today, and you have capital that you're willing to sit on and potentially lose money from this, like, by all means, anytime you invest into the stock market, number one, you got to be patient. And number two, you can lose your money, right? Stocks don't always go up forever. If they continued at these rates, we'd all be millionaires by the end of the year, right? But it's not. It's going to slow down, in my opinion. I don't know when, but I think eventually it will. And maybe not for a couple years. Maybe in the next couple years it continues to just rip up. We'll see. Crypto is ripping right now with the president that was recently elected. He is more favorable in that space, so it's getting a lot of movement from that. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Are these funds trash? Is it better to just kind of run your own covered call strategy yourself on the underlying assets that you own? Do you want more control of your investments? Keep in mind some cons that I don't like about some of these funds. But I mean, it's hard to really argue, right, against funds that are performing this well. Year to date, up 177%. Year to date, up 117%. The S&P 500 is up 18, probably closer to 25% now. But it's hard to argue these funds have not done well this year. Yes, they're not as great as NVIDIA, MSTR, but they're still solid funds and they've done well this year. Can they continue this? We'll see. Let me know what you think down below. Are you a fan of these Yieldmax funds, or are you more skeptical and kind of want to just sit on the sideline and allocate a very small percentage of your portfolio to them? That could be a good option. I'm not a financial advisor here, so I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. I just kind of want to provide some insights and look at different illustrations, looking for analysis of funds and ETFs that are out there, and kind of illustrate kind of my thoughts of going through looking at some of the different funds. We honestly live in a great time, right? You have access to these funds. It doesn't cost much money at all to purchase these types of investments. So definitely don't take it for granted. Do your research, do your analysis, be smart with your money, take proper risk. And yeah, guys, hope you guys got some value from this. If you're a NVIDIA holder or MSTY holder, congratulations. You guys have had a great year. The most obvious thing I'm going to add to that is, hey, man, you should have just bought the underline. But at this point, you could be still sitting on unrealized gains, and like, how do you know when to take profit, right? With Yieldmax, they kind of force you to take profit every single month. But do keep in mind there's some tax benefits with their funds as well. You're getting a return of capital versus short-term capital gains and different stuff like that. So that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know what you think down below. Are these Yieldmax funds something you like I talked about earlier, or are they something you just want to stay away from? Are they going to be like Cathie Wood's famous ARK funds where they shot up really well in 2021 and they've kind of been struggling ever since then? Let me know what you think down below. Like, subscribe to the video. Until next time, appreciate it, guys. Stay blessed.